Far post, Whipperly on top. Perfect shot.
Hello and welcome to UIL Spotlight. And this week, we're taking a look at the 2026 Girls Soccer State Championships. My name is Mallory Hartley, and I'm the coordinating producer of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And sitting alongside me, it's the soccer expert. It's our social media coordinator, Mr. Gavin Moritz. Gavin, how are you?
First off, I'm happy to be here talking about the 2026 UIL State Soccer Championships. We're starting with the girls this week, as you just said. A couple things to note here. One, I want to start first with the fact that this is a really special state tournament, and not that all of them aren't. You know, I've been covering this tournament in Georgetown at Birkelbach Field for a long time now, but this one was especially special now because of the parity in this state tournament as a whole. You had 24 teams in total playing. We'll only talk about the girls this week, of course, but out of those 24 teams, 18 teams playing for their first ever state title.
Wow.
And
That's
11
awesome.
there for the first time.
Now, Gavin, this is going to be a bit shorter of a show because remember, there's only 4A, 5A, and 6A in girls Texas high school soccer.
Yeah, Mel, and of course you have to think about the split division factor here, because a couple of years ago, about 2 seasons ago, at the state tournament, it was a true state tournament, right? You had the semifinals, and you go straight into the finals, typically on Saturday between 4A, 5A, and 6A. Now it's a split division, right? So you have 4A D1, 4A D2, 5A D1, and so on and so forth. So it's about the same length, but you have split divisions now at state instead of a whole tournament, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we've got 6 total games to talk about. Let's waste no time because we had a great weekend of girls soccer. Let's start off in the Class 4A of 4A Division 1. Salina taking on Salado. And Gavin, see here, you can take a look at the dominant run that Salina had to get to the state tournament.
Yeah, some of these scores are really astounding. You look at Nevada Community in the bi-district round, 8-0. Irving Ranchview, 12-0, which I know Salina is obviously one of the premier powers in Texas high school girls soccer, but these are just jarring scores. Kilgore, 6-0. Prosper Richland and Upstart Program in their first season, 4-1. And Life Waxahachie, 4-1 in the state semis. Those are impressive scores. And then you go to Salado, right? Mm-hmm. Some of their games a little bit closer, of course, especially in those first couple of rounds. China Spring, 3-0. Bay City, 2-0. Lumberton, out of the southeast Texas area, 3-0. And then Vidor and San Antonio Davenport later in the state semis. But both teams only allowed 2 goals apiece throughout their whole playoff run.
Jeez, that's just absolute dominance right there. Let's take a look at some of these highlights presented by Baylor Scott and White. Gavin.
Yeah, and we, of course, got the scoring started in the 42nd minute with Lucy Johnson going on the bottom left part of the goal with the assist by Cassidy Lange for Salado. Salina, though, would recover about 7 minutes later into the match in the 49th minute, about 49:32 in, with a goal scored by Riley Stiffelmeyer, the top left of the goal off her right foot. And then, of course, we do have to mention that at the end of the match, this one was 2-1 at the end because Salado had that own goal in the 68th minute scored by Salina that really just kind of propelled Salina to another state title, which we'll talk about their dominant run here in a minute. But it's rare to see a state title match really end in an own goal like that. And it doesn't really do justice, in my opinion, to how competitive this match was and really how well Salado played and really had Salina, in my opinion, on the ropes for most of this match until Salina really just came through in the clutch and was able to win their 5th consecutive state title.
Salina takes down Salado 2-1 in this match. Like you just said, Gavin, asserting their dominance in the state of Texas. 6th consecutive tournament appearance, 5th straight title. Just absolute dominance in Texas.
Right, and the cool thing with Salina, too, if you want to talk about the Bobcats there, the girls' soccer program, they had not made a state tournament until 6 seasons ago. They did not win it in their first try at the state tournament. Now they've won 5 straight UIL girls soccer state titles. They are the program you mentioned when you talk about girls soccer in Texas.
Well, let's go ahead and head out there and talk to our MVP, Miss Riley Stiffelmeyer. And of course, she goes back-to-back on MVPs as well. She won it last year, and now she takes home another MVP. That's dominance.
Yeah, Riley Stiffelmeyer has become one of the probably just the most dominant players in this sport. And she got one last year, like you said. Now she's got one for the road, too. That's 2 of them.
Absolutely. Selena takes down Salado 2-1 in the 4A Division I state title game. Let's go down to 4A Division II, and we'll talk about Sunnyvale taking on Wimberley.
Yeah, and again, Sunnyvale was a team that was dominant through their first couple playoff rounds. You know, that might be the case with a couple of these teams, especially the more high-level programs. Frisco Panther Creek 3-0. Dallas Pinkston, Sunnyvale got them 10-0. Athens 5-1. Aubrey 3-2, and they beat Godley in the state semis 2-1 to get to Georgetown. And then you take a look at Wimberley making another state appearance here. Lago Vista 5-0, Pleasanton 8-0, Ingleside another 8-0 victory. Mallory, check this out. Wimberley did not allow a single goal, spoiler, until they got to state. That is impressive. Their whole playoff run, 5-0, 8-0, 8-0, 5-0, 2-0 over Hardin Jefferson in the state semis.
Yeah, this was a pretty dominant win. So let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights here.
Yeah, and you look at the team totals here for Wimberley and Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale, trailed Wimberley 13-7 in shots. Shots on goal, Wimberley took 8. Sunnyvale only had 1 shot on goal, but Sunnyvale had 3 saves as opposed to Wimberley's none. 8-7 on fouls, that was pretty even. Wimberley had 3 corners and 3 offsides. Sunnyvale didn't have either one of those statistically. But it was Wimberley, right, that if you look at the scoring here, Samantha Santana, top left of the goal in the 68th minute, really kind of put it out of reach after a couple early goals before that. And I think Samantha Santana was somebody I was really impressed with watching this game with the composure she showed, especially off the assist by Dylan Watson there towards the end. And Wimberley, Mallory, making some history there for the Texans.
Absolutely. Their first state title in program history. They take down Sunnyvale 3-1. Let's head on out and talk to our MVP, Miss Emma Durkin.
It feels great. I mean, we knew last year we were going to be back. I knew that was a great chance for us to get up there, and it was a good place. So, yeah, I just knew I needed to finish it for my team.
Gavin, one thing I did want to point out before we move on here is that Emma Durkin, only a sophomore. So, is Wimberley going to be back next year?
I think they've got a pretty good chance. You saw what they did in their playoff run. You saw them drop Sunnyvale 3-1 in their state championship matchup. So I think Wimberley's got a really good chance to be back next year, especially with Durkin coming back. Like you said, she's got 2 more runs at it, and Wimberley I don't think is going away anytime soon.
Absolutely. Up next, we'll talk about Class 5A and 6A. But first, here's a word from our sponsors.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Well, this doesn't look like finding your zen.
Tell me about it.
Shh. Let's get those allergies under control. No talking needed. There you go. You'll be breathing easier in no time. Take back the day. Same care you know and love, available the same day.
UIL Spotlight is brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Baylor Scott & White Health, and your Texas Ford dealers.
Welcome back to UIL Spotlight. Let's take a look at the 5A Division I Girls Soccer State Championships. Prosper Walnut Grove taking on Smithson Valley. Let's take a look at the Road to State presented by Ford.
Yeah, you look at Prosper Walnut Grove here, one of the newer programs in the DFW area and one of the more dominant ones already. You look at their playoff run, they didn't allow a goal throughout the entirety of their run until they got to state. Mount Pleasant, Highland Park, Midlothian, Frisco Reedy, Burleson Centennial, blanked all their opponents en route to Georgetown. Then you take a look at Smithson Valley now. Very similar. They did allow the one goal in the regional finals to New Braunfels. They won that one 4-1, but otherwise 4-0 over Leander Rouse. San Antonio Southwest 6-0. Corpus Christi Vets 8-0, and then A&M Consolidated out of the College Station area 2-0 in the state semis. Two teams that did not exactly have much trouble with their opponents on the way to state, at least for the most part.
Man, and this one came down to the absolute wire. Came down in overtime, actually. Let's take a look at the highlights presented by Baylor Scott and White.
The teams are actually pretty even if you look at shots. Shots on goal was not as close. They both took 10 shots apiece, but shots on goal 6-3, Smithson Valley led. Walnut Grove, of course, with that kind of disparity between shots on goal led and saves 5-3, which does tend to happen. Fouls 16-13. Smithson Valley had a couple more fouls. Corners, Prosper Walnut Grove had 8 as opposed to Smithson Valley's 5. A couple offsides penalties between each of the two teams. But Smithson Valley 1-0. They beat Prosper Walnut Grove to win the state title as Alondra Sanchez, bottom right of the goal off her left foot to make it 1-0 in the 84th minute in overtime.
Gavin,
wins it for Smithson Valley.
Gavin, you set us up absolutely perfectly because Miss Alondra Sanchez was our MVP. Let's go ahead and hear from her, presented by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance.
As the buzzer sounded, all glory to God, that's what it sounded. And I knew automatically we wanted to get that win for Coach Atkins. We drenched him with the bucket early. I don't know if y'all saw that. I mean, our football team won, we won. We're just bringing history in the books, and we're showing everyone that Kamaya SD is a soccer school. Smithson Valley is a soccer school.
Gavin, I really like that she brought up the kind of dominance that Smithson Valley athletics has had the past couple years. Obviously, they've gone back-to-back in football state titles the past 2 years, and now they have a girls soccer state title.
Yeah, and Smithson Valley is one of those athletic programs in the state of Texas in general, you think about as one of the premier kind of athletic powerhouses. They're very good at baseball. They're good at essentially everything, but like you said, Mal, Larry Hill and the football team going back-to-back, and Alondra Sanchez knows that now the girls soccer program at Smithson Valley for the Rangers can add their name to the tally for state champions there.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Smithson Valley taking down Prosper Walnut Grove 1-0 in the 5A Division I state title game. Let's move on to 5A Division II, where Grapevine takes on Montgomery Lake Creek. Let's take a look at the road to state for both of these teams.
Yeah, Grapevine out of the DFW area, 5A Division II here. Granbury 3-0, Joshua 1-0, a close, tightly contested matchup there in the area round. And essentially more or less the same throughout the rest of their playoff run, right? Wichita Falls Memorial 1-0, Argyle 1-0, Frisco Wakeland 1-0 in the state semis. So Grapevine really had to kind of claw their way to Birkelbach Field in Georgetown to get there. Meanwhile, Montgomery Lake Creek, they had some scores that were maybe not as close. Splendora, kind of in the same area there in the northern part of the greater Houston area, you could call it, 9-0 over Splendora in the bi-district round. They beat P&G 4-2. Georgetown, who was trying to get to play on their home turf at state, 2-0 in the regional semifinals. Friendswood 4-2, and San Antonio Piper, again another fresh program out of that San Antonio area, 4-3 in the state semis.
Gavin, this was another really close game too. So let's head on out to Georgetown and take a look at some of these highlights here from this game presented by Baylor Scott and White.
Yeah, statistically speaking, Montgomery Lake Creek really led the way. Shots on goal, 13-10, and then 9-7 in shots on goal. They were even on saves, 5-5. Fouls, Grapevine had 2 more, 8-6. That didn't play a huge factor in this one. Corners, Grapevine actually had another corner opportunity, one more than Montgomery Lake Creek did, 4-3. Offsides, penalties, 1 apiece. But with the scoring, it was really Madison Patton for Grapevine in that 63rd minute in the bottom right part of the goal off her right foot with the assist by Tori Fiegel. This is a game that was really even throughout most of it until in the 73rd minute, Harper Montgomery in the top left of the goal with the assist by Zoshi Ramirez really put this one away for Montgomery Lake Creek, giving them a dominant girls athletic program in general, with what softball's done the last couple of years, a girls state soccer title now too.
Absolutely. The girls are dominating. They win it 3-2 over Grapevine. Let's head on out and talk to our MVP of this game, Harper Montgomery. What a last name.
I mean, it means everything. Like, my team's been working for this all year, and we started off rough, but we've had a lot of young players, and it just means everything for us to finally figure it out, and it just means everything.
Congratulations to Montgomery Lake Creek on winning their first ever state title in girls soccer. We got the big dogs coming up, Class 6A, but first, here's a word from our sponsors.
UIL Spotlight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road. From up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Well, this doesn't look like finding yours in.
Tell me about it.
Shh. Let's get those allergies under control. No talking needed. There you go. You'll be breathing easier in no time. Take back the day. Same care you know and love, available the same day.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
UIL Spotlight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott and White Health.
Welcome back to UIL Spotlight. Let's take a look at the highest classification. We'll start with 6A Division I. Keller taking on Round Rock.
Yeah, here's we get into the big dogs. We're talking about Keller first here in 6A Division 1. Mansfield, they beat them in the bi-district round 6-0. Odessa Permian out of West Texas area round 1-1. That one went into PKs. Keller able to advance over Odessa Permian. Plano East, then they dropped Coppell, then they dropped Saxe. 2-1 again in the regional finals and the state semifinals to get here. Keller trying to get on to Georgetown. They do. Round Rock, they blanked their first two opponents, Austin Westlake 4-0, San Antonio Reagan 1-0, and then they allowed one goal a pop throughout the duration of their playoff run against Cibolo, Steele, Lake Travis, and then Humble Summer Creek 4-1, 3-1, and then 1-1 into PKs against Summer Creek in the state semis. And so two teams that were pretty battle-tested, I'd say, going into Georgetown.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell from this game, Round Rock taking down Keller 3-1. Let's take a look at the highlights here presented by Baylor Scott and White.
Yeah, and Keller really got going off to a great start here early. It was Juliana La Puma, bottom left of the goal off her right foot. You see the goal there for Round Rock, though. Round Rock responded about 10 minutes later into the match. Grace Eldier, the future Texas State Bobcat, got the scoring going for Round Rock off the assist by Aiden Hernandez and Audrey Reedus. And Round Rock wouldn't stop there after knotting this thing up at one apiece. 39th minute, Aiden Hernandez on the penalty kick goal, top right of the net, she connects. And then Aiden Hernandez does it again in the 69th minute at 4 seconds over that mark with the assist by Carly Deegan. And Round Rock would take down Keller 3-1 now.
And Miss Aiden Hernandez, she deserves the spotlight here. She is our MVP with 2 goals on the game. Let's hear what she had to say.
I mean, we were up by 2. I just thought we had it in the bag. We just had to do the defense. Our defense played good all game. Like, it was really good. So it was just a real moment because the seniors, I'm really close with all of them, and I knew it was our last match. So I just wanted to use those last moments with them.
Gavin, my favorite quote to come out of this game was that Aiden Hernandez, she is 4'10", but plays like she's 6'10". Shortest girl on the field, but plays like she's the tallest girl on the field. That's
incredible.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah, she absolutely deserves her MVP honors here for the 6A Division I state championship game. Congratulations to Round Rock. Let's round this all out and take a look at the 6A Division II state championship game. Forney taking on Humble Kingwood. And let's take a look at the road to state presented by your Texas Ford dealers.
Yeah, and at Forney for the Jackrabbits in the bi-district round, they dropped Rowlett 8-0, Mesquite 8-0 in the area round, so combined 16-0 between their first 2 playoff matchups. That's super impressive. And then in the regional semifinals, Cy Woods, another blowout 4-0. Wiley East, a little bit closer in the regional finals, 3-1. and then they squeaked by South Lake Carroll, dominant athletic program across the board for girls and boys, really. State semifinals 1-0 to advance to Birkelbach Field. Then you go to Humboldt Kingwood. They dropped Clear Lake out of the Houston area 3-2. Sugarland Fort Bend Clements 5-1. Houston Stratford 1-0. Katy Tompkins 4-1. And then Dripping Springs out of the Austin area in the state semis 1-0 to get Kingwood back to Georgetown for the first time in what feels like a while.
And Gavin, this game was intense. I mean, it came down to the wire. Actually came down to a shootout. Let's take a look at the highlights presented by Baylor Scott and White.
Yeah, and this is a game that, Forney led for after they scored that first goal, which we'll get to here in a second, for what felt like the entire match. You see the shot there. It's going to go into the back left corner of the goal there. So Forney goes up 1-0 with 32-35 left in the first half. Kingwood really was not, probably feeling too comfortable as they got down to the final minute of regulation, Mal. Here, about 45, 50 seconds left. Kingwood's going to get their opportunity, and they capitalize as it's Tyler Weaver with the game-tying goal, the equalizer with 48 seconds left. That's incredible. Kingwood would not waste their opportunity, though, as they get the equalizer there in the final minute of regulation. They go to overtime. Nothing really, kind of happens in overtime. But then in a shootout, Kingwood wins it 4-2 in PKs, Mal, to win their first state title since 1999. Feeling like Prince, partying like it's 1999 for the Kingwood Mustangs.
I absolutely love that. And you already mentioned her name, the star of the show, Miss Tyler Weaver. We caught up with her out there in Georgetown after this game.
Words can't even describe. It's the best feeling. It feels like a dream, honestly, but we worked so hard, so I'm so proud. The work, it's been a full team effort. It's actually been very difficult, but we pushed through every game, playing for our old coach, Coach Holcomb, wearing these tonight, and it was just a dream come true.
And one thing to mention, too, Kingwood went undefeated this season. First undefeated team in girls soccer since 2018. That's really dang impressive.
Yeah, Kingwood is one of those teams that's, in my opinion, they've been around for a while, obviously, several decades now. They're only up and coming, though, out of that Humboldt ISD, Northeast Houston area athletically. And I think Kingwood, especially in girls soccer, first state title since 1999, they're back, baby.
Absolutely. What a wonderful weekend we had in Georgetown covering girls UIL state soccer. We thank you so much for tuning in here. Special thanks to our sponsors, Baylor Scott and White, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and your Texas Ford dealers. And of course, a special shout out to our friends at Focus Point Sports for capturing all the great footage from UIL girls state soccer. Remember, we did not forget about boys soccer. Stay tuned. Here in the next couple of weeks, we'll give you a full recap of boys state soccer on our next UIL Spotlight show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you in a couple weeks.